An evolving family is one that is comfortable with a little ambiguity and sees the beauty in the gray area. What does that mean? Well, I happen to be a really analytical person, and I have lived a lot of my life as being a very black and white kind of person because I like that clarity and I like that simplicity. And when things don't fit into one of those two categories, sometimes it's hard for me to work out how that's supposed to happen. The beauty of the gray area is that it considers that everybody is an individual and that the the rules that are set up in one particular situation, likely for one particular population of people, may not apply as well to someone in a different situation that comes from a drastically different type of population, a different demographic. I like to think about it this way. Often, people as first time parents, they have a lot of learning to do about what parenting involves and how to make decisions and dealing with all of those emergencies and things shoved up noses and stuff like that. Well, when they have the second child or the third child or the fifth child or the seventh child, there's this tendency to think, oh, well, we've already had so many kids. What's one more? This one we've learned so much, and we'll just apply what we've learned to this little guy or gal that's coming along. The trouble with that is that very often this person is not anything like anybody else in the family. And so what may have been very clearly black and white for the first child or the first two children or the first 5 children, now for the second or the third or the sixth child doesn't apply in the same way. And so these families have to negotiate going through this new normal stage and figuring out what is appropriate and acceptable, and is it okay that it's falling outside of the dichotomy of black and white that we have. And we see that there's this big, vast amount of gray area in the middle, and it's not a bad thing. The gray area is not a bad thing. Yes, it does have some challenges to it, and those are things that we will discuss further as far as strategies for managing things like scope creep and disagreement between partners about how to make a decision with the same kind of information and that stuff. But an evolving family is one that recognizes that there's always going to be a gray area, that there will be new problems that come up where black and white hasn't been established, or there will be variations on past problems that come up that don't quite fit into the model that we've already established. And so being responsive and adaptive and flexible in looking at what our past performance has been and figuring out how we can apply that to now and honor the experience that we have, and also recognize that there's a lot of stuff that we don't know that we need to figure out all over again. That's the gray area. The gray area also allows us to consider the individual in a different way when we're making decisions. So black and white thinking tends to be very moralistic and very judgmental, that there's a right way to do it and there is a wrong way to do it, and this is the only place that it's acceptable to be. If you're anywhere else, then it's all wrong. All of it is wrong. This is especially hard for kids. There is a phase of development that kids go through where they are very much into justice and the black and white way of thinking, but this becomes a hard thing because we do need that gray area to consider individuals, because not everybody is the same, and that's okay. That's what makes the world an interesting place, and that's what makes families So amazing and incredible.